3 weeks ago, someone walked into a coffee shop in Shenzhen with DJI's most secretive camera yet. They put it on a table, snapped a photo, and vanished. That image just leaked, and it confirms everything we suspected about the Pocket 4. But here's what nobody's talking about. While the internet obsessed over this one camera, DJI silently pushed 7 brand new products through US certification. 7. And they did it exactly 3 days before the government tried to shut them down. This isn't just a product announcement. This is DJI's survival strategy playing out in real time. And if you're planning to buy any camera gear in 2026, the next 10 minutes will either save you $1,000 or help you make the smartest purchase of your creative career. Stick with me because the regulation twist at the end changes everything, and I'll show you exactly what to do about it. Let's start with that coffee shop photo, because the details hiding in this image are absolutely wild. Pocket 4 Deep Dive. So here's what we're looking at. 2 compact gimbal cameras sitting side by side, probably during field testing. One is clearly the Pocket 3 we all know. The other? That's your first real look at the Osmo Pocket 4, and it's different in ways that matter. First thing you'll notice, the body is slimmer, more refined, almost sculptural compared to the Pocket 3's utilitarian design. DJI shaved off bulk without sacrificing strength, which suggests they've completely redesigned the internal architecture. But the detail that made my jaw drop? Look below the screen. 2 physical buttons now live under the LCD display. This isn't speculation. We first spotted this exact button layout back in October during a promotional shoot in Barcelona. That commercial was filmed months ago, which tells you DJI has been sitting on this launch, waiting for the right moment. Those buttons completely change how you operate this camera. Instead of relying on finicky touchscreen swipes while you're running through a crowd or filming in the rain, you've got tactile controls for zoom, focus, and gimbal adjustments. This is what creators have been screaming for since the Pocket 2 days, and DJI finally listened. The screen itself looks marginally larger, maybe a 1/4-inch diagonal increase, but that's enough to improve framing confidence without bloating the form factor. Now let's talk performance, because this is where the Pocket 4 goes from nice upgrade to completely different beast. The Pocket 3 maxes out at 4K 60 frames per second, which is solid but limiting for slow motion work. Leaks suggest the Pocket 4 pushes all the way to 4K 120 frames per second. If that's true, you're getting buttery slow-mo without the usual quality drop or crop factor. Think about that for a second. Professional-grade slow motion in a device that fits in your jacket pocket. The sensor appears to be sticking with the 1-inch format, possibly a refined version with better low-light performance and dynamic range. Battery life is getting a bump. Rumors point to longer runtime and better heat management, which means you can actually shoot extended 4K clips without the camera turning into a hand warmer. Stabilization remains 3-axis, but the gimbal algorithms are supposedly smarter, faster at locking onto subjects, and more resistant to sudden jerks. Here's the million-dollar question. Should you wait for the Pocket 4 or grab a Pocket 3 at a discount? The Pocket 4 has already cleared FCC approval, which means a US launch is locked in. Current intel points to an official reveal between mid-March and April 2026, so we're talking 8 to 12 weeks maximum. If you shoot events, travel content, or anything requiring quick deployment and smooth footage, waiting is the move. The Pocket 3 is excellent, but the Pocket 4 is shaping up to be the camera that finally makes dedicated vlogging cameras obsolete. And about that coffee cup in the leaked photo. Yeah, that's Luckin Coffee branding, a massive chain with over 10,000 locations across China. The nearest one to DJI's Shenzhen headquarters is basically a 5-minute walk. This photo wasn't some random leak from a factory worker. This was shot during legitimate testing, probably by someone on the development team grabbing their afternoon caffeine fix. That level of casual confidence tells you the launch is close, really close. Avata 360 Revolution. Now, let's talk about the product that's going to redefine an entire category, DJI Avata 360. And before anyone asks, no, this is not Avata 3. This is something DJI has never attempted before. And honestly, I don't think most people grasp how radical this thing actually is. For the first time in DJI's history, they've built a true 360-degree flying camera drone from the ground up. Not a drone with an Insta360 camera zip-tied to the top. Not a custom E. Rig held together with hope and gaffer tape. This is a fully integrated system where the drone and the camera were designed as one cohesive unit, and that changes everything about how you capture immersive content. If you've ever tried to fly a 360 camera on a drone, you already know the pain points. Propellers constantly invade your shots, forcing you to spend hours in post-production painting them out frame by frame. Flight time craters because you're hauling extra weight that wasn't part of the original design. Stitching becomes a nightmare because the camera and the drone vibrate at different frequencies. And the footage? It looks incredible in your headset, but takes so much work to make usable that you almost regret shooting in 360 in the first place. DJI looked at every single one of those problems and systematically obliterated them. The Avata 360 uses dual 1/1.1-inch sensors, which is absolutely massive for a 360 drone. Most 360 action cameras use tiny sensors that fall apart in anything less than perfect lighting. These sensors record 8K spherical video at 50 frames per second, which means you've got smooth motion, sharp detail, and genuine flexibility when you reframe footage in post-production. No more pixelated messes when you punch in on a subject. But here's the feature that makes this drone feel like it came from the future. The camera module physically rotates with the press of a button. 1 second, you're capturing full 360-degree immersive footage. Next second, you flip to forward-facing FPV mode without landing, without swapping cameras, without even pausing your flight. You're essentially getting two completely different creative tools in one package. Shoot a sweeping 360 establishing shot of a mountain range, rotate to FPV mode, and dive through the trees in the same take. That's not just convenient, that's a workflow revolution. Battery life gets a serious upgrade too, 38.67 watt-hours, which is roughly 26% more capacity than the Avata 2. In real-world terms, you're looking at an extra 5 to 8 minutes of flight time depending on conditions. That might not sound like much, but when you're chasing a subject and you're 30 seconds away from the perfect shot, those extra minutes are the difference between nailing it and watching your drone auto-land in someone's backyard. DJI also integrated LiDAR-based obstacle sensing, which is rare in the FPV space. Most FPV drones rely purely on pilot skill to avoid crashes. This thing actually understands the space around it, especially valuable when you're flying indoors, navigating tight urban environments, or threading through structures where GPS is unreliable. Transmission is handled by OcuSync 4 with a theoretical range up to 20 kilometers, obviously subject to local laws. But translation, rock-solid signal, low latency, and far fewer heart attacks when your drone disappears behind a building. Who is this drone actually for? Real estate creators, shooting VR property tours where clients can explore spaces remotely, travel filmmakers who want one-take immersive experiences that drop viewers directly into the moment, action sports shooters chasing bullet time effects and impossible angles, VR-first content producers who've been waiting for a tool that doesn't require a full production team to operate. This isn't a toy. This is a specialized tool for creators who've been working around limitations for years, and now those limitations just evaporated. Pricing is expected to land somewhere between $999 and $1,299 internationally, with a likely launch in the first quarter of 2026. US availability? That's where things get complicated, and we'll address that regulatory minefield in a few minutes. But bottom line, Avata 360 isn't an iteration. It's a reset. It's DJI planting a flag and saying, this is how 360 drones should have worked all along. The regulation earthquake. All right, here's the part nobody wants to discuss, but everybody needs to understand. On December 22, 2025, the FCC added all foreign-made drones and drone components to its covered list. This isn't a proposal. This isn't pending legislation. This is active policy, effective immediately, and it fundamentally changes what you can and cannot buy in the United States moving forward. Here's what this actually means in plain language. A product can receive FCC certification and still be blocked from sale in the U.S. market. New DJI products now require special exemptions from both the Department of Defense and the Department of Homeland Security before they can be legally sold to American consumers. This isn't about safety. This isn't about security vulnerabilities. This is geopolitical maneuvering playing out in the consumer electronics space, and creators are caught in the crossfire. Let's separate fact from panic. Existing DJI gear remains completely legal, safe, and functional. If you own a Mini 4 Pro, a Mavic 3, an Osmo Pocket 3, an RS4, whatever, nothing changes for you today. Your equipment works, your investment is protected. Firmware updates will likely continue, though long-term support beyond 2026 is genuinely uncertain. DJI has every incentive to keep supporting existing customers, but they're also at the mercy of regulatory decisions that could shift without warning. The bad news: buying new DJI products in the US after December 22nd is complicated and potentially impossible without those exemptions. We don't yet know which products will receive approval, how long the exemption process takes, or what criteria the government will use to evaluate applications. The Pocket 4, Avata 360, RS5, all of these passed FCC certification before the deadline, which suggests DJI saw this coming and moved strategically. But certification doesn't guarantee availability. That's the harsh reality we're navigating now. If you're an international creator, Europe, Asia, Canada, Australia, anywhere outside the United States, you're completely fine. Products will launch normally throughout 2026. Your workflows aren't disrupted. Your purchasing decisions aren't complicated by regulatory drama. This is purely a US market issue. And frankly, it's a self-inflicted wound that benefits nobody except DJI's competitors. So, what should you actually do? Don't panic buy. Don't feed scalpers charging triple the retail price on eBay. Don't make emotional decisions based on fear of missing out. If you need gear right now for a specific project, buy what's currently available and legal. If you're planning a purchase in the next few months, wait for official announcements and confirmed availability. Master the equipment you already own. Focus on storytelling, composition, and technique. The gear is just a tool, and great creators make great content regardless of what camera they're holding. The dust will settle. Exemptions will get granted or they won't. Alternative. Brands will step up or they won't. The market will adapt because it always does. But in the meantime, your job is to keep creating, keep improving, and keep building an audience that values your perspective, not your equipment list. Call to Action 2026 is shaping up to be the most turbulent, competitive, and potentially transformative year in consumer camera tech that we've seen in a decade. DJI is fighting for survival in the US market while simultaneously launching their most ambitious product lineup ever. Other brands are circling, ready to capture frustrated creators looking for alternatives. And somewhere in the middle of all this chaos, there's an opportunity for smart creators who pay attention and move strategically. So here's what I need from you. Which product are you most excited about? Pocket 4 for the portability, Avata 360 for the immersive content, RS5 for the professional workflow? Drop your pick in the comments right now, and let's see what this community is actually planning to buy. And if you're stressed about US regulations, subscribe to this channel because I'll be posting updates the second exemptions get announced, the moment products become available, and whenever new intel surfaces. You don't want to miss those updates because timing will matter more than ever in 2026. The gear is coming. The regulations are murky. The future is uncertain. But one thing I know for sure, the creators who thrive this year won't be the ones with the most expensive equipment. They'll be the ones who adapt fastest, tell the best stories, and refuse to let bureaucratic nonsense stop them from making incredible work. I'll see you in the next one. Now go create something worth watching.